an ina ending sound. Unaa corresponds to Rafa. Ina ending sound corresponds to Nasab or Jarr. For feminine non-broken plural, we will again focus on the ending sound of atun and atin. So we have muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. Atun sound corresponds to Rafa status. Atin sound corresponds to Nasab or Jarr status. Finally, for broken plural Asma, their status will be on the same pattern as that of singular Asma. So we have rijalun, rijalan, rijalin, nisaun, nisaan, and nisa'in. Now, for each ism in this chart, we know all 4 characteristics of the ism. For example, ism muslimun, it is singular. Muslimun is masculine. Muslimun is Rafa in status by referring to our chart. And Muslimun is indefinite in capacity because it does not meet criteria for it to be definite. All the Asma in this table are indefinite in capacity. To convert an indefinite ism, that is nakra ism, into definite ism, we need to add an al to the ism. We will study this in the next section. We will now revisit how to convert an indefinite ism into a definite ism. Previously, we studied that we can convert an indefinite ism into definite ism by the addition of al. But there is a very important rule that we need to know. Al and tanween cannot come together on the same ism. So, double pesh, double zer, double zabar, and al cannot come together on the same ism. The addition of al to an ism eliminates double pesh, double zer, and double zabar. This is important to understand because in this lecture we came across a lot of asma like muslimun, musliman, muslimin, which had the tanween on it. So what if we add al to an ism such as muslimun or kitabun? So let us look at the example of kitabun. Kitabun is an indefinite ism, and to convert kitabun into its definite form, we need to add al. So if we add al to kitabun, we could get an ism on the pattern of al-kitabun. But according to our rule here, al and tanween cannot come together on the same ism. So al-kitabun is incorrect. The addition of al to an ism eliminates the tanween. So the correct version will be to eliminate the tanween and add a single pesh. So kitabun is the indefinite ism and al-kitabu is the definite version. By adding al to kitabun, we get al-kitabu. We will now study the status chart with the addition of al. In the singular pattern, we used to have muslimun, musliman, muslimin, muslimatun, muslimatan, muslimatin. Those were all examples of indefinite asma. The addition of al will make those asma definite. And now we have al-muslimu, al-muslima, al-muslimi, al-muslimatu, al-muslimata, al-muslimati. The addition of al removes the tanween on the last alphabet. So it removes double pesh, double zabar, double zer, and replaces it with a single pesh, single zabar, single zer, because we studied that al and tanween do not exist together. Please note that for al-muslima in the nasab status, we do not need to add an alif at the end of the ism. We needed to add an alif for musliman, where we had the double zabar at the end of the ism, but we do not need to do that for al-muslima. If we add al to musliman, we could have this version of al-muslima, but this is the incorrect way of writing it. Since double zabar is no longer present, we do not need to add alif at the end. Therefore, al plus musliman becomes al-muslima, and this is the correct way of writing al-muslima. Next, we will move to the dual pattern. In the dual pattern, the addition of al will give us al-muslimani, al-muslimaini, al-muslimaini, al-muslimatani, al-muslimataini, al-muslimataini. Please note that despite the addition of al, we have the same ending sound, Aani and Aini, and that will help us differentiate between Rafa status and Nasab or Jarr status. For masculine non-broken plural, we have al-muslimuna, al-muslimina, al-muslimina. Again, note the una and ina ending sounds. For feminine non-broken plural, we have al-muslimatu, al-muslimati, al-muslimati. Please focus on the ending sound of atu and ati. Atu, ati, ati. Because of the addition of al, we are not saying al-muslimatun, rather we are saying al-muslimatu, al-muslimati, al-muslimati, because al and tanween cannot come together. Finally, for broken plural, we have the pattern of ar-rijalu, ar-rijala, ar-rijali, an-nisa'u, an-nisa'a, an-nisa'i. Please note that I am pronouncing this ar-rijalu and an-nisa'u. I'm not pronouncing it al-rijalu or al-nisa'u because ra and noon are not part of the moon letters or the qamari haruf that we studied previously. So in these instances, we will not be pronouncing the lam on al. So we will say ar-rijalu, an-nisa'u. This slide includes some clarification on the use of terminology. These are all harakat and they have different names, and different terminologies are used in the Indo-Pak region versus Arabic. This symbol is called pesh in Indo-Pak, and in Arabic it is called damma. This symbol is called fatha in Arabic and is also referred to as zabar. This symbol is called kasrah in Arabic and is also referred to as zair. So in our lectures, I often refer to these as pesh, zabar, zair, but the corresponding terminologies in Arabic are damma, fatha, and kasrah. Similarly, these symbols with the double pesh, double zabar, double zair in the Indo-Pak region, these are collectively referred to as tanween. In Arabic, this symbol, the double pesh, is called dammatain, the double fatha is called fathatain, and the double zair is called kasratain. In the Holy Quran, Surah 33, Ayah 35, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Indeed, the Muslim men and Muslim women, the believing men and believing women, the obedient men and obedient women, the truthful men and truthful women, the patient men and patient women, the humble men and humble women, the charitable men and charitable women, the fasting men and fasting women, the men who guard their private parts and the women who do so, and the men who remember Allah often and the women who do so. For them, Allah has prepared forgiveness and a great reward." From a grammatical standpoint, this ayah very nicely captures what we have studied. For example, the word al-muslimina. The presence of al indicates that this ism is being used in the definite sense. Because of al, we also don't have tanween at the end of the ism, and all we see is a single zabar. So we know the capacity of this ism is definite. Next, we focus on the ending sound, which is ina ending sound. We know that una and ina ending sounds are used for masculine non-broken plural. Therefore, we know that this ism is masculine. We also know that this ism is plural. And finally, we know that una and ina ending sounds are used to identify the status of the ism. So, una ending sound will correspond to the Rafa status and ina ending sound will correspond with Nasab or Jarr status. So, the capacity of this ism is definite, the number is plural, the gender is masculine, and the status is Nasab or Jarr. And the translation of al-Muslimina is the Muslim men. On the same pattern as al-Muslimina, we have al-Mu'minina, which means the believing men, al-Qanitina, which means the obedient men, as-Sadiqina, which means the truthful men, as-Sabirina, which means the patient men, al-Khaishina, the humble men, al-Mutasaddiqina, the charitable men, as-Saimina, the fasting men, al-Hafizina, the men who guard their private parts, and az-Zakirina, which means the men who remember Allah. Next, we move on to the feminine asma. We have the word al-Muslimati. The presence of al indicates that this is a definite ism. The presence of al also means that we will not have tanween at the end of the ism. We are not going to have a double zabar, double zair, or double pesh at the end of the ism. Muslimati, we focus on the ending sound, ati. We know that atu and ati ending sound are used for feminine non-broken plural. So we know that al-Muslimati is feminine and it refers to the plural ism. Finally, ati ending sound can be used to identify the status of the ism. We know that atu ending sound represents Rafa status and ati ending sound represents Nasab or Jarr status. So al-Muslimati is definite in capacity, it is feminine, it is plural, and it represents the Nasab or Jarr status. Al-Muslimati means the Muslim women. On the same pattern as al-Muslimati, we have al-Mu'minati, which means the believing women, al-Qanitati, which means the obedient women, as-Sadiqati, which means the truthful women, as-Sabirati, which means the patient women, al-Khaishati, which means the humble women, al-Mutasaddiqati means the charitable women, as-Saimati, which means the fasting women, al-Hafizati, which means the women who guard their private parts, and az-Zakirati, which means the women who remember Allah. We will now do some practice of the status of ism. We will start with the practice of dual asma. Please note that for dual asma, we have to focus on the ending sound. The ending sound will be Aani ending sound for Rafa status and Aini ending sound for Nasab and Jarr status. For the following asma in the Rafa status, we will try to find the Nasab and the Jarr status. For example, for Muslimani, we have Muslimaini and Muslimaini. Muslimani is in the Rafa status, Muslimaini is in the Nasab status, Muslimaini is in the Jarr status. Please also note that both Muslimani and Muslimaini have the same meaning. Muslimani means two Muslim boys or men. Muslimaini also means two Muslim boys or men. So, although these asma mean the same, the difference is in the status of the asma. Next, we have Kafirani, Kafiraini, Kafiraini. Mu'minani, Mu'minaini, Mu'minaini. Munafiqani, Munafiqaini, Munafiqaini. Kitabani, Kitabaini, Kitabaini. Qalamani, Qalamaini, Qalamaini. Kursiyani, Kursiyaini, Kursiyaini. Imra'atani, Imra'ataini, Imra'ataini. Ukhtani, Ukhtaini, Ukhtaini. Please note the meanings of all of these asma for vocabulary building. Abidatani, Abidataini, abidataini. Ainani, ainaini, ainaini. Shafatani, shafataini, shafataini. Rijlani, rijlaini, rijlaini. Yadani, yadaini, yadaini. Uzunani, uzunaini, uzunaini. On this slide, we will practice the status of masculine non-broken plural, and we will focus on the unaa and ina ending sounds. Please recall that unaa ending sound represents Rafa status, ina ending sound represents Nasab or Jarr status. So for the following Asma that are in the Rafa status, we will try to find the Nasab and the Jarr status. For Abiduna, we have Abidina and Abidina. Hafizuna, Hafizina, Hafizina. Saimuna, Saimina, Saimina. Zakiruna, Zakirina, Zakirina. Mushrikuna, Mushrikina, Mushrikina. Mufsiduna, Mufsidina, Mufsidina. Muslihuna, Muslihina, Muslihina. Munafiquna, Munafiqina, Munafiqina. Fasiquna, Fasiqina, Fasiqina. Munziruna, Munzirina, Munzirina. Mutawakkiluna, Mutawakkilina, Mutawakkilina. Next, we will do the practice of feminine non-broken plural asma. Here, we will focus on the ending sound of atun and atin. For example, mu'minatun, mu'minatin, mu'minatin. Abidatun, abidatin, abidatin. Saimatun, saimatin, saimatin. Zakiratun, zakiratin, zakiratin. Talibatun, talibatin, talibatin. Kafiratun, kafiratin, kafiratin. Sadiqatun, sadiqatin, sadiqatin. Kazibatun, kazibatin, kazibatin. Salihatun, salihatin, salihatin. Khashiyatun, khashiyatin, khashiyatin. Jannatun, jannatin, jannatin. Ayatun, ayatin, ayatin. Hujuratun, hujuratin, hujuratin. Ghurfatun, ghurfatin, ghurfatin. Khutuwatun, khutuwatin, khutuwatin. Next, we will do the practice of broken plural asma. Please note that broken plural asma will not have sound-based endings. Here, we will focus on harakat at the end of the ism. For example, awladun, awladan, awladin. In awladun, we have double pesh on the last alphabet. In awladan, we have double zabar at the end of the ism. And in this case, we have to add an alif. Please note that we do not have to add an alif if the ism ends with a gol ta or if alif and hamza come together at the end of the ism. That is not the case with awladan, so we have to add an alif. And awladin, which has double zair at the end of the ism. Awladun represents Rafa status, Awladan represents nasab status. Awladin represents jar status. Kutubun, kutuban, kutubin. Rusulun, rusulan, rusulin. Qulubun, quluban, qulubin. Wujuhun, wujuhan, wujuhin. Aqlamun, aqlaman, aqlamin. Azanun, azanan, azanin. A'yunun, a'yunan, a'yunin. Uyunun, uyunan, uyunin. Alsinatun, alsinatan, alsinatin. Amrazun, amrazan, amrazin. Buyutun, buyutan, buyutin. Azkarun, azkaran, azkarin. Abwabun, abwaban, abwabin. Hurufun, hurufan, hurufin. Here we will practice the addition of al to asma in their three forms, that is in the Rafa status, Nasab status and Jarr status. In this column we have asma, all of whom have the tanween at the end of the ism. So all of these asma have double pesh on the last alphabet, and we will add al to the three forms of these asma. For example, for waladun we have al-waladu, al-walada, al-waladi. Waladun means a boy or any boy, and al-waladu means the boy. Al-walada means the boy, and al-waladi means the boy. So the addition of al makes an indefinite ism into a definite ism. Please note that the addition of al removes the tanween at the end of the ism and replaces it with the single harakat. So waladun becomes al-waladu. The double pesh becomes a single pesh. Please also note that in the nasab status, we do not have an alif at the end of the ism because we do not have a double zabar. So there is no need to adding an alif at the end of this ism. Bintun, al-bintu, al-binta, al-binti. Kitabun, al-kitabu, al-kitaba, al-kitabi. Qalamun, al-qalamu, al-qalama, al-qalami. Kutubun, al-kutubu, al-kutuba, al-kutubi. Rusulun, ar-rusulu, ar-rusula, ar-rusuli. Muslimatun, al-muslimatu, al-muslimati, al-muslimati. Please note that muslimatun represents feminine non-broken plural. And we know that the status or the three forms of feminine non-broken plural will be on the pattern of atun and atin. Atun represents the Rafa status and atin ending sound represents the Nasab or Jarr status. So we have al-muslimatu, al-muslimati, al-muslimati. So in the Nasab status, we do not need to add a zabar. This should be on the pattern of ati and ati. We have to focus on the ending sound in this case. Similarly, samawatun, as-samawatu, as-samawati, as-samawati. Ayatun, al-ayatu, al-ayati, al-ayati. Jannatun, al-jannatu, al-jannati, al-jannati. Banatun, al-banatu, al-banati, al-banati. Sadiqatun, as-sadiqatu, as-sadiqati, as-sadiqati. qulubun, al-qulubu, al-quluba, al-qulubi. Kuffarun, al-kuffaru, al-kuffara, al-kuffari. Tullabun, at-tullabu, at-tullaba, at-tullabi. Please note that ayatun, jannatun, banatun, sadiqatun, these are all examples of feminine asma. These are all feminine non-broken plural asma. So after the addition of al, we will have the Rafa, Nasab and Jarr status on the pattern of atu, ati, ati, atu, ati, ati, atu, ati, ati, atu, ati, ati. Qulubun, kuffarun, tullabun, these are not feminine asma. So after the addition of al, their pattern will be al-qulubu, al-quluba, al-qulubi. Al-kuffaru, al-kuffara, al-kuffari. At-tullabu, at-tullaba, at-tullabi.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.